Dravida Vedamum Veda Srutiyam. The Vedas and Vedas Sruti and the Dravida Vernacular Vedas. What a brilliant connection. We had the opportunity of doing Vedic based Sambrama in Hindu Temple of Lubbock, West Texas. It is Lord's mercy that beyond expectation, the interest and the appreciation for the Sanatana dharmic text Veda was prevalent among the community. It was more evident that more and more, if we make attempt to elaborate the meaning, not in a extended form, at least in a simple form, the next generation may get interested in coming to temple, because it also gives their way of life. So while doing so, it was very striking for us and Adiyan's son, a 9th grader, born here, growing up here. Of course, I have been a drill master for him in Vedas. That's a different story. But what happened is, his own friends, having seen him reciting and things like that, started showing interest, at least at that moment, let's say. What it struck us is how the connection between the Veda Sruti, the Pramanic text for Sanatana Dharma, is with the vernacular text. Whether it is the Ovis of Gnaneshwari or the more prevalent, more prominent and well respected the Dravida Shrutis of South Indian Bhakti saints, i.e. Azhvars. It was possible to understand how, out of mercy, the Lord has brought these great souls to the world, and out of their own mercy, these souls have made sure that the understandings in Veda are imbibed and reflected in their texts. So when you start a congregation, it was very clear. Only when you do these protocols, when you take the responsibility, then you understand how these people have labored. Of course, out of costless mercy of the Supreme Lord, these people were able to do, which we will not be able to do as an ordinary Manushya. So when we start any function, a young man noticed it. When we start a function, we say, Ye Parishati, Namas Sadase, Namas Sadasaspataye, Namas Sakinam, Puroganam, Chakshushe, Namo Dive, Namah Prithivyayi. So we start like this. How do we face the congregation? Of course, with the blessing of the Lord and the Guru. Namas Sadase, a blessed congregation. Then the word comes, Namas Sakinam. We don't consider the congregation to be a group of hierarchical structure. We say that we are all bandhus, namassakinam, puroganam chakshushe. Those people who are before me, you are my friends. The same thing. So you are trying to unite the people, because you have to get the people interested in a good act. So you have to bring them into fellowship. Veda says it's a Shishtachar Paddhati. It is the sutras of Rishis that says you have to invoke any congregation with this. Hey friends, come, let's do something. Let's first invoke the blessings of nature. Namo Dive, Namah Prithivyayi. Then how magnanimous Azhvar, particularly the goddess Andal, has brought this in her classical poetic text, Thiruppavai. Nirada podivir podumino nerirayir. She is calling people. Hey people, those who are interested. I'm not forcing you, but the mere invocation here of the Lord and the interest to bring you into this fold will make you interested. Today you listen, tomorrow you feel some urge, day after tomorrow you will join, and the day after that you will join with us to do the service. Same thing what Veda says, the first, see what did we say? The first invocation in any congregation is Puroganam Chakshushe Namasakinam. Hey friends who are seen before me. Similarly, this Andal goes door by door and says, Nirada Podivir Podimino Nerirayir. See? So that is the reason when we were pondering, we don't have time. We have time for many things. We don't have time to do all these. This is a research per se, in a way. So why our forefathers have called these dravida sruti as Veda is these are the classical ways how there is a samyam, there is a connection. We don't say Dravida Veda is exact word by word verbatim translation. No, that's not the case. Only you have to give the juice. As days goes by, as time goes by, people gets cluttered. So, Kalau Dukka Nide Rajanne Parikshit, Sukha Brahmam to Parikshit. So, that is again the mercy of Azhvars and Gnaneshwar and other bhakti saints, whether it is a Varkhari saint or Dravida Tamil saints, or even bhakti saints of the northern basin, Gangetic basin. All have thought this. How look at this. It doesn't come overnight. So when we invoke the Vedic blessing in a congregation, this is what we say. Similarly, Andal in her epic poem starts Nirada Poduvir Podimino Nerirayir. Then, how do you begin? Both in Rigved and Yajurved, this prominent Rik is there. Dhruvante Raja Varuno, Dhruvan Devo Brihaspatihi, Dhruvanta Indrascha Agnischa Rashtan Dharayatam Dhruvam. First itself it invokes A Raja Varuna. Rajadi Raja is Indra. Rajadi Raja is Kupera. But the Raja, we can't see the president. Whereas you can relatively easier enough to see your local minister. So Varuna is your local minister. So he is called Raja. And why Varuna? Because he is the Pratyaksha Devata, of course Agni. And Varuna is also a Pratyaksha Devata. Without Varuna, the life won't exist. The same thing. So Veda says you have to invoke Varuna. Dhruvante Raja Varuno, Dhruvan Devo Brihaspatihi, the god of knowledge. Look at this. In one poem itself, how Veda. That is why Thiruppavai Vedam Anaithukkum Vittu. Fourth poem, what Andal says, Azhvars Anna. You can interpret in different ways. Azhvars Anna Talaiva. The antharyami of Varuna is none other than Sriyapati Sriman Narayana. Or, I see you, eh Lord Krishna, I see you in the form of rain. Dhruvante Raja Varuno. To Samyam. Then what we invoke? Veda says in Ashwamedha Prakarana, the most important aspects in Ashtaka. Shito va rashtrasya. So what should be a rashtra be? Shito. It has to have a balanced environment. Shito va rashtrasya. Let this rashtra have a balanced environment. Shitameva varunde. Avarunde. We expect only a balanced environment. Andal again says, third poem. Tinginri nadallam tingal mummari peidu. Look at this. Because those people were bound by certain traditions. All the Azhvars and Bhakti saints were bound by certain Sanatanic tradition that how can I reach the essence of Veda? It need not be that literally each swara of Veda should be transformed to the masses. Only the artha, the essence. What is the artha? Tinginri nadallam tingal mummari peidu shito va rashtrasya shitameva varunde dharmo va adipatihi dharmameva varunde. We won't do anything what forefathers said Nishiddha. Second poem. பையத்து வாழ்வீர்கள் நாமும் நம்பாவைக்குச் செய்யும் கிரிசைகள் கேளீரோ. Kriyas, what they have done, they have thought for ages and ages and ages. The first 5 poem itself is a Vedasara. Dharma meva varundhe dharayati iti dharma. That is the reason. Particularly Sri Vaishnavas have given this kind of an elevated status. And when we found out that there are actual, in a way, artha translations, not the verbatim translations, what you do in a daily recitation of Sandhya Vandan, Andal has told us, which we use it in Swasti Vachaka, or which we also use in one of the greatest prakriya in Shilastapanam, Netra Unminanam. We say, hey Lord, open your eyes. It's not that you are made blind by tying this bandage. No, nothing. You are ever Chakshush. You have your subordinate Surya, who is the Chakshush, who is the eye of the world. But it is for us. Asatyena rajasa vartamano nivesayanna mrityam martyancha jagatastha chakshuhu. You are Jagat's chakshuhu. That is the reason we invoke the 22nd poem in Thiruppavai. Anganvaanyalathu arasar abhimana bangamai vandu nin pallikattil kizhe sangamiruppar pol vandu talaipeidom கிங்கினி வாய்ச்செய்த தாமரைப்பூ போலே செங்கஞ்சிரிச்சிறிதே எம்மேல் விழியாவோ திங்களும் ஆதித்யனும் எழுந்தார் போல் எம்மேல் நோக்குதியேல். Open, bless us. Shabam இழிந்து. In those days it's like Natram and Shabam. The meaning was different in those days. Shabam mane Ashirvachanam. Shabam இழிந்து ஏலோர். Thiruppavai itself is Vedasaram. Then 17th poem is a classical, par excellence. One of the greatest kriya, Shastra says, is Soma Yajna, Sapta Soma Yajna. In that Sapta Soma Yajna, all Sapta Paka Yajna, Sapta Avir Yajna, Sapta Soma Yajna. Vajapayam is the highest. Although among all the Yajnas Ashwamedha, because even Brahmanas and others can perform Ashwamedha, Rajasuya is for Kshatriya. But Ashwamedha cannot be performed in the Kali. Vajapayam can be performed. There are few Vajapayis as well. So Vajapayam says, Vajapayam is very respected and revered Soma Yajna, in the Sapta Soma Yajna. Not anybody can perform, because you have to take Adhanam, Agni Adhanam, and then other Ishtis you have to keep on doing until you reach the Sapta Soma part. And then in the Sapta Soma part, Vajapayam is the epitome. So Andal felt, oh, my own colleagues, my own fellow men will not be able to do this, because who are my fellow men? These are the people, bhaktas, they don't know the distinction between right hand and left hand. Vikretu kama kilako paganya murari padarpita chitta vritti dadhyadikam moha vashati avochat govinda damodara madhaveti. They don't know anything but for the name of Govinda. Inacholla inumaga eritirai vayyam muttum ஏனத்துருவாய் இடந்த பிரான் இருங்கற்பகம் சேர் வானத்தவர்க்கும் அல்லாதவர்க்கும் மற்றெல்லாயவர்க்கும் ஞானப்பிரானை அல்லால் இல்லை நான் கண்ட நல்லதுவே. ஈனச்சொல் Govinda is the very meager name we could call him. That's all he cares. So they don't know anything but for the name of Govinda. Vikretu kama, even when they are churning the dhadi All they say is Govinda. And then when they are measuring the dadi and grita, they don't say 1 cup, 2 cup, 3 cup. Like we say, we are used to say Thiruvarangam Periyakovil when we are measuring, making paka. My grandmother, Srimati Perindevi Ammal used to do. First pidi is Thiruvarangam Periyakovil. And then recite Thirumalai when the pakam is going on. Thirumalai I learned from my grandmother. Anyway, those were the chimes, good old times. They are all pratas smaraniya. Maybe went to school up to 5, but Prabandham was contestam. That's the way of life. So what happened? So they only measure Govinda. Second cup is again Govinda. Third cup is again Govinda. So if they keep saying the same Govinda, 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 measurement misplaced. Whether it is a second Govinda or third Govinda, they don't know. All they did was that bhakti immersion. So likewise, they don't know anything. So Andal thought, how could I make sure that they get the essence of Aswamedha? In Aswamedha, the number, you have to give 17 different horses have to be used to show off Vajam. Vajam means strength. Vajam mane dhanya. It is urja. The dhanya is the one that gives the strength to the body. So it is basically invoking the God Supreme to bless us with bounty. That is Vajapayam. Payam mane water. Vaji mane horse, but here Vaji mane dhanya. So you invoke the Supreme. Why do we do Vajapayam? You invoke the Supreme to get strength to the society. How do you get strength to the society? By good food and good water. Vajapayam swamasam. Paniyam iti payam. Vajam iti viryam. How do you get viryam? Vrihi se. How do you get viryam? Vrihi se atai viryam. Vrihi mane nellu. Viryam eppadi varudhu? Vrihilendu varudhu. Nellilendu viryam varudhu. Paniyam iti piyam. So in Vajapayam, what do? You show the conclusion. Avabhritam, by having a chariot race among people, 17 different horses will be put in that chariot and people, because also Veda says you don't have to get bored by doing the yajna avisa all the time. Have some merit. So Vajapayam ends with this. So there is a chariot horse that has to reach the goal post and 17 different horses will be put in a chariot and people will drive the chariot. Okay, and 17 different types of Brahmins, Rik, will be invoked with 17 different of benevolence. 17 different types of jewelry, 17 different types of food, 17 different types of vastra. All symbolizing that, hey Lord, through this Brahman, I am giving you 17 different types of offerings in different materials. That thing, imagine, this is the greatest Veda Samyam the Dravida Veda shows. 17th Pasuram. What does Andal say? Ambarame tannire sore aram seyyum. Can you believe this kind of a benevolence this Azhvar has? Young girl. Ambarame vastram. Tannire payam vajapayam. Sore vaja plus payam. Aram seyyum who? I give this to Embaruman. And why I am praising Nandagopala? Because he begot the Supreme. Pita putrena pitruman yoniyo nau katakam. This Hindu Temple of Lubbock, we were able to bring Dravida Veda. There is a lot of charcha in Bharata Desh, particularly in one state, that we don't use Dravida Veda. We use. That's why in particularly Sri Vaishnava's temple, Adhyapakas fully recite 4,000. In Saivite temples, Oduvars do recite Tirumurai. The only thing is the connection is not explained. So, when you do Netra Unmilanam, Thiruppavai 22nd Pasaram. When you do Ashirvad, Thiruppavai 3rd Pasaram. When you do Pavamana suktam, they all say that when you are going to invoke, you have to make this place auspicious. Environment and ambience must be clean. So you invoke Varuna. Tirtharaja Varunam idam avahayami in the kumbha. in the pot. Pavamana suvarjanaha pavitrena vicharshanihi yaf pota sapunatuma punantuma devajanaha punantu manavodhiyaha. This is so good to hear. But for those who don't understand, our own Nammalvar has poured his heart. Tirthana katrabin matror saranillai ennenni. Look at this Tirtha. Tirthana katrabin matror saranillai ennenni. Tirthanukke Tirtha manattananagi selungudur chadahoban sonna. தீர்த்தங்கள் ஆயிரத்துள் இவை பத்தும் வல்லார்களை தேவர்வைகள் தீர்த்தங்களே என்று பூஜித்து நல்கி உரைப்பர்த்தம் தேவியர்க்கே. Finish. Invoke this. He is the Tirtha. He is the one whom we should approach. He is the one under whom we should take refuge. பால துன்பங்கள் இன்பங்கள் படைத்தாய் பற்றிலார் பற்ற நின்னானே காலசக்கரத்தாய் கடலிடங்கொண்ட கடல் வண்ணா கண்ணனே என்னும் செயல்கொள் தன்பனை திருவரங்கத்துள்ளாய் என்னும் என் தீர்த்தனே என்னும் 7 கோலமா மழைக்கண் பனிமல்கவிருக்கும் என்னுடை கோமளக் கொழுந்தே. When he talks about the பூலோக வைகுண்டா, என் தீர்த்தனே, that too who says? Parankusa Nayaki's mother says she is equivalent to your Guru, Guru Mukena. So, Veda Shruti is the paramount Adhara. But, according to Shishtachar, for Sri Vaishnavas, Dravida Shruti of Azhvars is par excellence. So much the efforts we have done at the Hindu Temple of Lubbock made me fall in total, although for us, while Veda and Arulichayal is the mooch, is the breath for us. But that again Tirumanga Azhvar came, look, don't think that only certain handful of people are doing this, both eulogizing Tamil and Sanskrit. No. What a beautiful poem, 7. பந்தனைந்த மெல்விரலால் சீதைக்காகி பகலவன் மீதி அங்காத இலங்கை வேந்தன். Look at the rhyme. அண்டமில் திண்கரம் சிரங்கள் புரண்டு வீழ அடுகணையால் எய்துகந்த அம்மான் காண்மின். This is where he says, look, even in my days, people have respected on par both Veda Shruti and Dravida Veda. செந்தமிழும் வடகலையும் திகழ்ந்தனாவர் திசைமுகனே அனையவர்கள் செம்மை மிக்க அந்தணர்தன் மாகுதியின் புகையார் செல்வத்து அணியழுந்தூர் நின்னுகந்த அமரர்கோவே. செந்தமிழும் வடகலையும் திகழ்ந்தனாவர் திசைமுகனே அனையவர்கள் செம்மை மிக்க அந்தணர்தம் ஆகுதியின் புகையார் செல்வத்து அணியழுந்தூர் நின்னுகந்த அமரர்கோவே. செந்தமிழும் வடகலையும் திகழ்ந்த நாவர். Likewise, if you go to some Maharashtra days, Gnaneshwari, Amritavani and all those things, so that is the importance. So why we give this much parisrama? So, it is basically Tamil Marayin pinpona pachai pasung kondale. A Saivite poet says, who is this Lord of Kanchipuram? Who is this Lord of Azhvarthagrini? Tamil Marayin pinpona pachai pasung kondale. Kumaragurupar sings, when he is singing about Lord, Goddess Meenakshi. Who are you? Meenakshi, you are the brother of that particular god. Who is that god? Tamil Marayin pinpona pachai pasung kondale. So you can do every prakriya because both are samyam. Like the Veda came from Yasya Nisvasito Vesaha Brihadaranyaka. Rigyachir Sama Atarvangirasaha Yasya Nisvasito Veda. Then that became Upabrahmanartam Valmiki Mukate Ramayanakyena. Similarly, when I was young, I coined this poem because since that time I was mad after Arulichayal for some reason. Divyasuri Giri Sambhuda Vishnu Sagara Gamini, because Azhvars Trinagari is very close to the sea resort. And I said, I have to say that this is equal and this came out of Divyasuri's Mukhat. So I borrowed from this Ramayana Upodghata Sloka. But the meter also perfectly fitted, that is his grace. When I was young, first Anushtup, perhaps one of the first Anushtups I coined. Divyasuri Giri Sambhuta Vishnu Sagara Gamini, because Adinathan is very close to Tiruchendur and 20 kilometers. And it is on the coast. Vishnu Sagara Gamini. So, where is Vishnu? Vishnu's Lord basically touches Senganitturai. Todavatti Chenganitturai. Azhvars Trinagari, Tambrabarani. Tambrabarani goes quickly to reach her Pati Sagara, Hindu Sagara. So Vishnu's Lord is being quenched by Tambrabarani, in other words, Hindu Mahasamudra. Divya Suri Giri Sambhuta Dirga, because multiple Divya. Divya Suri Giri Sambhuta Vishnu Sagara Gamini Punatu Bhuvanam Punya Dravida Sri Mahanadhi. Because Alparsrutar Kalakiya Vedamanadi Todavatti Chenganituraile Tennirai Acharya Hridayam Adage Manavala Perumal Nayanar Todavatti Chenganituraile Tennirai Alparsrutar Kalakiya Sruti Anadu Divya Suri Giri Sambhuta Vishnu Sagara Gamini Punatu Bhuvanam Punya Dravida Sri Mahanadi Parvata Iva Vichachalihi Indra Iveva Drivatishta Iha Rashtamudaraya Imam Indro Adhitarate Parvata Iva Vichachalihi Indra Iveva Drivatishta Iha Rashtamudaraya Abhitishta Prutanyataha Adare Santu Satravaha Indra Iva Vritraha Tishta Tamujum Vainavamum Taraitu Inidivonguha.